Hello, I'd like to welcome Lilly today to Healthy Mind, Body and Spirit. And today it's my honour to have her here because she's an amazing woman. I met her a number of years ago through the wedding industry, but today she's going to tell us a bit about herself and her story because she's just so amazing, and she's written a book and I know there's another one on the pipeline. So go for it, Lilly. Tell us about yourself.
Wow, thank you, Julie. Oh, I'm really nervous this morning. I'm not sure why. I think it's because I have to talk about a side of myself that I've kept hidden for so long. And when you asked me to do this podcast, part of me wanted to shy away. The other part of me knew that this was a big fat yes, and I had to do this because I have to show up as who I really am and my purpose work. So thank you, Julie. This has really been about me stepping forward and showing up. So obviously I'm Lilly. A lot of people know me as Miss Lily's Catering, Miss Lilly. I also very, very spiritual. I am what you would call a channeled clairvoyant medium and an awakening priestess. I have been on this journey of my spirituality evolving for the last 35 years, and it's a side of me now that I no longer wish to hide, because while I was hiding it, it was making me very unwell. And so through that last year and through some really, really massive changes in my life, physically, emotionally, and mentally, I decided that there was a side of me that I had to start showing up and start to actually letting people know that this is who I was. I no longer wanted to hide my angel cards. I no longer wanted to hide crystals in my house. I just didn't want to hide. My family know for many, many years that I've been spiritual, and I have given them messages, and I just decided that enough was enough, because the only person I was hurting was actually myself. And through that, it was manifesting disease in my body. And so I decided something had to change. And as much as there's been such a fear element around this, because people have some very, very strong views, I had to really get discomfortable to become comfortable in my skin. And through that journey, I've lost a lot of friends, and because they simply don't understand me. And through me owning who I am and the essence of myself, that has made people question who they are. And I suppose when you get more comfortable with who you are, some people fall away, and it's okay too, because this is who I am now, and this is me, and I'm Lilly. This is all aspects of Lilly. So yeah.
Wonderful. And you've got an online community?
Yeah, I have an online community called Connecting to Your Light, and it's very much about, there's so many women, there's so many men out there living spiritually in their closets that have no connection. And I suppose that no connection to others, no idea where to go to get the resources that they need, or even just to ask a question. And that was me for so many years. And last year I entered a space of a priestess temple school with 18 other women throughout the world that literally changed my life. It literally made me, it was the first place that I absolutely felt accepted and honored for who I was. And that changed that changed everything for me. And that was part of me starting to trust and be comfortable. And so I wanted to create that same space for other women in our local area and within New Zealand, because I felt that there's so many of us hiding when we could do so much work together collectively and really bring some impact and change. And we work very isolated, and whether that be in our business, whether that be within our own spiritual work, whether that be coaching, development. Yeah, and it's about collectively coming together, because all aspects of self, mind, emotional, spiritual, physical, actually is one. And so that's one for us as the vehicle. So you can have life going great in one area, but other areas need to fall away. So it's about honouring, that as a whole process. And so that's what connecting to your light is. It's a safe place for people just to connect and talk about spirituality and get messages and whatever's going on for them. Yeah, and it's safe, and it's very, very supported by the other sisters in there, because they're all sisters rising. So yeah.
Nice space. So what sort of people are you working with?
Me, what sort of people am I with? Good question, Julie. People from all walks of life. So I do a lot of channeled readings, and I call myself a sacred heart healer. I do a lot of channeled readings. I do a lot of healing work and activations for people around moving through their blocks. I work with business owners, women, people that struggling through addiction. I used to be a trauma counsellor, so my sessions are very much a mixture of everything. It's really across the board. It's really it's not gender specific. It's pretty much whoever knocks on the door and shows up, they're welcome, and Spirit will always welcome them through, and so will I, and give them give them the guidance and the messages that they're needing to hear for their highest good. And sometimes they're not messages people want to hear, and other times that's their loved ones that they're so wanting to hear from, and it's the healing that they need from in that capacity to move forward in this lifetime. So yeah, pretty much wherever people are at.
So if a business, for instance, was really blocked, something to help that business owner?
I can. So I've done a number of healings, a number of clearings within businesses, because you need to clear away the energy. Because sometimes, and it's also in people's homes. So if someone has bought a home that was a divorce settlement, and they've got the house cheap, or a business reasonably cheap, sometimes that energy of what the strain was within that business or that home is still there. And so you need to clear that energy out and welcome the energy that you're needing to bring forward, and you're needing to bring forward for you within that home or within that business. Within businesses, and people could own individually working their businesses, I can normally see what their blocks are and what they need to do to move through that. I can either give them guidance around that, and feel into that with them, and see what other avenues that they can work through Spirit on how they can bring more income into their businesses. And I can also see the blocks within the person, within their chakras, and what they're needing to do to get the confidence or get their voice, and how they can activate that within stepping out to clear away that block and owning their purpose work.
So do you see auras around people?
Sometimes I do. Sometimes I do see auras. Sometimes I don't. It very much is whether I'm in tune with it. I quite often go to the supermarket really, really early in the morning, because when I go in the afternoons and it's busy, there's just too much going on for me, and there's too much scattered energy. So I have to go in the morning. I see auras. I have conversations with people randomly at coffee shops if it's something that I feel called to do for them, and at the supermarket if I feel called to talk to someone about something. Yeah, it's just sometimes I can't let things go, and the message is too strong that people need to hear it. And so I don't always do that, but if I'm really being prompted to do that, like the other day at Coffee Culture, there was a woman there and I was really prompted just to have a conversation with her, I'll just have a conversation with her. Yeah.
Good. And if someone was wanting to get a crystal because they've never
Yeah.
had crystals before, what kind of crystal would be a good crystal for them to have? I've got about half a dozen sitting beside me on the computer.
Great question. So interesting. We're talking about that, Julie. I want to talk to you about your crystals. You need to sort that into a grid to activate your business space more. You can make, instead of just putting them on your desk, make them start communicating and working together. But to answer your question, so to answer your question, first crystal I would probably recommend that two crystals that I would recommend that everybody gets.
Writing it down.
Is you'll probably have one. Is a rose quartz crystal. It's pink. It's the energy. Yeah, you can either get. Julie's got one, so Julie's got it in a rock form, and in tumble, or you can get it raw, or you can get it as a pointer. So the interesting thing is they all serve different purposes. So the pointer will draw the energy down into whatever it is that you're needing, what it's sitting on, whatever it's needing to, whatever it's around. With it being the raw form, it's very much raw. It will very much generate out around the surroundings. What I want to say is the rose crystal is very much to the vibration of love. So it's around self-love, self-healing, nourishing self. It's also to the vibration of Archangel Ariel. So if you're going through a time in your life that is, you're needing a little bit more nourishment, you're needing to have a bit more strong self-worth, you're needing to love yourself more, you're needing to send some love to others or within your relationship, that would be a phenomenal crystal to have. I would cleanse it underwater. And then I would very much put it outside under the full moon so it's being charged. And then I would blow on it and bless on it and call it forward and tell it your intentions of how you want it to wish to work within that space. Exactly the same process with every crystal. With the other crystal I would suggest is an amethyst crystal. So an amethyst crystal is a purple crystal. It's beautiful, and it's the crystal of protection. A lot of people wear these crystals as pendulums around their neck or put them in their bra. So for an amethyst crystal, it's the vibration of Archangel Michael. So he's the police bobby of everyone, basically. He makes sure that, Julie's got one. Yeah, that's gorgeous.
And it's in a wee
angel. Yeah, that's gorgeous. That's really gorgeous. And so amethyst, Archangel Michael is very much he protects us, makes sure that everything's okay around us, and protects, our house, our property, and ourselves. Protects us from other people and other energies. So I would suggest getting that for your home or your work environment. Because sometimes, we do invite energies and negative people into our space, and then we don't know what to do with it. Work, sometimes not everyone is lovely who we have to work with on a daily basis. I would suggest definitely an amethyst crystal, and exactly the same process. Cleanse it, full moon, blow on it, call in your intention. So I very much have this, both of those crystals in my goddess room. To give loving messages and make sure that everyone feels safe within my room, within the rose crystal, and the amethyst crystal is just for protection of myself, and I want the person to feel protected that comes into that space. I want them to feel that, they're being held and heard by spirit. And and I also have both of them in my both of those crystals in my home. So my house is very, very protected energetically, and it's my home, it's my castle, it's where my family feel we can be safe. And so, yeah, that's what those two crystals I would definitely suggest. They'll be life changing. Yeah.
Fantastic. And I can just say I've been in Lily's space and it's beautiful. You do feel totally protected and totally, it's just awesome space to be in. So we have to talk about your book next.
Oh,
Because
what
you've written
book? Which one?
your first book, haven't you? You published
I've
it and
yeah,
you've done more than one
I've actually done two books. Yeah,
already.
I've written two books. No, my second book, my first book was a book about leaving my marriage, back in leaving a marriage many, many years ago, called Surviving Him.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
haven't
And
read
then
that book.
no, it's pretty raw. It's a good read. It's interesting. I've read it now and I can't actually resonate with the person that wrote it. But anyway, because it's just how much I've changed. And so I suppose Surviving Him was very much, it was about the marriage that I was in at the time. And Spirit really kept me safe in that marriage. My Nana really, really kept me safe. And it was literally divine timing, me leaving. And that was probably the first steps of me reconnecting and starting to own my gift again. Because in that marriage, I was very vulnerable, and it was Spirit that completely and utterly guided me through that space. I was vulnerable, I was suicidal, I was definitely the girl on the floor crying that didn't know how to lift herself up. I was a business owner. I lived in a small town of 30 permanent residents. And yeah, but that, I don't regret that marriage. Actually, if anything, it was the greatest blessing of my life, because he actually, I was taught so much about myself. I was taught so much about myself. And when you're sitting on the floor, rock bottom, there's only one way to go, and it was to rise. And so that was my first book. Yeah, and so, and out of that marriage, very much, I learned so much about myself. I'm actually quite a gritty person. I'm quite strong. I'm stronger than what I think I am. And so my second book, Come Together, was completely guided by Spirit. It was completely guided by Spirit, and the whole process has been guided by Spirit. I have a charitable trust called Miss Lily's Angels Trust that helps build resilience in rural communities. And I posted a post on my Facebook page after the Kaikoura and Waia earthquakes that went viral. 21 tonne of food later, actually more than that. And then the bunker, the government was ringing me and gave me the Canterbury frigate to put all my food on. And so we had no resources, only a cell phone, and lots of amazing people that turned up my drive, and everything was donated. And it was all divine timing, and it was Spirit working its magic like you wouldn't believe. And out of that, I wrote a book. And I wanted to write a book because everyone that came up my drive and donated products or food or their time and their energy all had a story. And as an ex-counsellor, their stories were mostly around the earthquake and the Canterbury earthquake and how that affected them. And I, as an ex-counsellor, I believe, how do we not allow our story to own us? How do we move through our story? How do we navigate through that and still be the narrative to move forward? And so that's what the book's about. The book's about people's story. I only simply asked three questions, and it's a collaboration of about 40 people that turned up here. And I could have easily had 250 people, if not more, but I had to narrow it down to 40 people, and they share their story, and I share a meal with them, and they share a recipe. And then there's a whole section on Waia and then there's a whole section on Kaikoura, of people that were in the actual disaster. There's in the book both the mayors, Winton Daly and Winton Gray. There's Richie McCaw, because Christchurch helicopters were phenomenal in the delivering the food and really, really helping me move forward. It has 3 Kiwi Bank heroes in it that were nominated after their relief efforts for Kaikoura and Waiā. Vernon Callier, who actually was fundamental person in raising the money to rebuild the Waiā swimming pool, and he started his campaign from Auckland, and he's an ex-Waiā pupil. Winston Gray, the mayor of Kaikoura, and then myself. I was a Kiwi Bank recipient, which which was quite cool. And so that's what the book's about. It's quite phenomenal, really. It's and it was completely gifted from spirit. I just knew that it needed to be written, and yeah, that's what my book's about.
It's a beautiful book.
Yeah, it is a beautiful book.
There's another book there, is there?
There is another book there. It's actually, funny enough, the paperwork for the book is sitting right in front of me, and I'm about to start the process of putting it together. Yeah, there is another book there. Actually, the next book is it's called Awakening She, and it's about awakening your inner gifts, whatever they may be in whatever capacity. And it's my story, and it's how I've got there, and it's around this honoring yourself, remembering, reclaiming, and awakening. And so, yeah, it's going to be an awesome book. I'm just excited. The more and more I sit with it, the more and more I'm excited, and more I hold space for it, the more and more I can see it growing and expanding.
Cool.
So, yeah.
Fantastic. And one last question.
Yeah.
Give us one of your big, audacious goals, something that's in the future for you. I know it's the wedding season coming up and Miss Lily's catering will be busy, but something that's the big goal.
Well, that's really interesting. My big goal. I have so many, but I'm not sure. I feel like it's got to be a goal around my spirit, around awakening other priestesses. So I feel that for me, it is around helping other priestesses and sisters awaken and rise and live their true soul purpose. It's really about helping other sisters rise in the capacity of us rising together and not being afraid to actually own who we are, speak our truth, and explore our gifts. And I feel like as much as it's in that capacity, I would love to help awaken and bring forward, many, many women into the light.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Thank you, Julie. I haven't really thought about that. I have lots of business goals, but not goals as in, I have lots of business goals for Miss Lily's, but when I have to think about goals around Goddess by Lilly, yeah, I think that's it, honey. That's it.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much for sharing. That has been very interesting. And if someone wants to get one of your books that have been published, can they still do that?
They still can. So possibly the best thing to do would be to either email me through Miss Lily's Catering or Miss Lily's Facebook page, because our web pages for Miss Lily's Angels Trust are currently just being rebuilt, because we're about to launch our, which is so exciting, our resilience app around making communities resilient. So that's all just being, populated at the moment together, our web page and that. So probably message Miss Lily's Catering. And then obviously if someone wants to book a session with me, go to goddessbylily.com. Yeah.
And you'll give me all those contact details so I can put them with the video.
Yeah, no worries. I'll message them to you as soon as we finish. Hey, thank you very much for your time, Julie. Julie, you know, I just want to say for you, I know that you are here to do such phenomenal things, and you just so need to believe in it. Don't worry about the haters. You know, it's that song by Taylor Swift. The haters are always going to hate, hate, hate. You know, you need to just step forward, own who you are, and the universe, when you lean into discomfort, the universe will always show you the way.
Perfect.
You're here for phenomenal things.
Thank you.
Own it, sister.
Thank you very much. We'll catch up again soon.
No worries. Much love, Julie. See you, hun.
Bye-bye.